Good morning, everybody. I'm Larry Jacobs. This is Pre-K-12 Education Talk Radio, and it's Monday, almost the last Monday in September already. I can't believe it. Okay, Monday, the 25th of September. I'm Larry, and we got a nice show for you today. We're going to go down to Monroe, Louisiana, and we're going to talk to the middle school principal down there, Keshea Jones. And Keshea, I'm going to learn how to pronounce your name in a minute, but that's for the time being. Do you give me the correct pronunciation? She's principal of East Washita, which sounds very American Indian. I don't know if it is, but I guess it is. Okay, middle schools down there in Monroe, Louisiana. It's the Washita Parish. Okay, and we're going to find out more, about how to pronounce everything, etc. So bear with me on that. Okay, we're going to talk about tutoring the kids, giving them the help they need to keep them engaged, how Ed Tech allows us to do this. She's an expert in Ed Tech, and we're going to go from there. We're going to archive the show over at ace-ed.org. That's ace-ed.org. Everything we do over there is free. That's the home website of our American Consortium for Equity in Education, and we hope you go over there and check it all out. We've got our magazine. Just click on the cover of Equity and Access Pre-K-12. All the podcasts are over there, and our Excellence in Equity Awards, where we hope you do get involved and nominate yourself, your colleagues, your school, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, it's all for educators, and it's over at ace-ed.org. And I'm going to go over to my guest now, go all the way down from Maine, where I am, down to Louisiana. And Keshea, help me pronounce your first name.
Hello. You said it exactly right. It is Keshea Jones, and we are Washita Parish.
Thank you. Okay, I didn't know how to pronounce it. Where's that word derived from? Is it American Indian?
It's Northeast Louisiana. Nope, Southern, Northeast Louisiana. We're in the South.
Wow, I know that. I've been to Monroe, but I didn't know the Washita part. Okay, that's interesting. But the university's down there, right? There's University of Louisiana at Monroe, right?
Well, we have one university in Monroe. Yes. It's ULM, University of Louisiana at Monroe.
Yep, exactly. Okay, and I've actually been there, and good place. That's all I can say about that. It's a good place, and welcome to our podcast today. Okay, I read this. You're the principal of East Washita Middle School, right? Am I correct?
That is correct. That's correct.
Okay. But you have this background, and my good friends over at Varsity Tutors mentioned this to me, in computer technology. Are you an ed tech expert?
It's computer information system. I'm definitely not a tech expert, but I do have a degree in computer information systems, and it was from a long, long time ago. So it has changed quite a bit since then.
But, I think
95, yes.
That's not that long. Okay, that's not that long. It is in the computer world, but it's not that long. Okay, actually, I think you're the first person I've talked to who's in education with that degree. How'd you wind up in education? This is interesting.
It's long story. I did work in my field for a little while. My husband is also an educator. When we started having kids, it was just complicated. It was very, very complicated. So I made the transition to education, and I have not regretted a minute of it.
You should not. We're glad to have you, by the way. Not that it's something new, but we're glad to have you. And obviously, you're principal of the school. Tell us about East Washita and the school. Go ahead. Your school and the
Thank
community.
Thank you so much.
Oh, please, brag a little. Go ahead. Go for it.
Well, we are a fairly new school. We opened 7 years ago. Washita Parish had a fairly large middle school, large for Monroe, and they split the two schools. I was at the Washita High School as an assistant principal, and when we split, I got this job here. So we opened it 7 years, and we have been rocking and rolling. We love our beautiful building. We try to be quite progressive. I love technology, and so we jumped on board on the technology train our very first year. So we've transitioned pretty well.
They've got the right person to lead them along the way. I got to tell you, it's you. All right, that's amazing, and I think that's great. What is the school's demographics? I don't know the demographics of Monroe and the Washita schools. What's the demographic?
Okay, our population is about 67. About 65% African American, so that would be 35% white. We have a low socioeconomic background. of students. Actually, ours is pretty diverse. I'm going to tell you that it's pretty diverse.
Yeah.
We have just a plethora of socioeconomic backgrounds.
That is fantastic. Okay, and I love to hear about a diverse school, and I love to hear about a diverse school doing well. Okay, and that's really good. And a lot of people give me the number for free and reduced lunch. How we doing on that down there? It just gives a picture to everybody who's listening of the school district we're talking about.
Okay, the majority of our students do eat free and reduced, but we are not Title I.
There you go.
Surprisingly, we are close to Title I, but we are not.
Yeah.
We are not quite Title I. We have been in the past. Our numbers did not reach the Title I status the last 2 years. Yeah, we missed it by like 2%. Yeah. Now I don't know if that's good or not. I like getting that extra money.
Yeah.
I like getting the extra money, so I'm not going to say that's good.
Yes, I was just going to say, I said good, and then I'm thinking, now, wait a minute, is that good or not? Because you want the community to do better and better and better economically, obviously, that's obvious, but by the same token, when you move to that next level, you don't get the money anymore. Well, that's an interesting question. Yeah. I agree with you there. It's amazing. So
I do enjoy.
Yeah, go ahead, please, speak up.
No, I was going to say, I do enjoy not having all the extra paperwork, though. That comes with Title I.
If you're as good a principal as I think you are, okay, you don't even have the time for the extra paperwork. Just be thankful for that. It's where that paperwork is nuts. Okay, and you got so much on your plate anyway. It's unbelievable. Yeah, my good friends over at Varsity Tutors introduced us for today's show, and I'm very happy with them. Thank you, Varsity Tutors. It's varsitytutors.com, varsitytutorsforschools.com. They're great. And obviously, how are you working with them? How are you working with tutors for the kids? I think that's wonderful.
Okay, so in our math classes, we have a traditional math class, and then we have what we call our enrichment period. The enrichment period is geared towards students who are not at grade level. Those students who have not scored mastery on their LEAP test. They're the ones who are making UNSAT and approaching basics. So we strategically schedule these students in the enrichment courses. Varsity Tutors has allowed us to create what we call rotation stations or centers, where we have one teacher. Some classes we have a paraprofessional and the live instruction of Varsity Tutors. So that allows us to differentiate and provide what we like to call on-time or just-in-time support.
When you said live, did you mean that they are doing it live on screen, or are they actually in the room?
No, it's live on screen. Like each student has a headset, and there's a person on the other side. Students get to work. They show their work.
Yeah. They're talking specifically to that class. To that class. To that
small group of students. It's not the entire class. That's the beauty of it. Just say we have 10 kiddos in the class, right? A teacher may be working with 5 kiddos, and Varsity Tutors may be working with 5 kiddos, depending on where they are in the lesson and what additional supports they need.
And how do your teachers? How do they stay in touch with the tutor? How does the tutor know what to teach that day?
Okay, so the teachers communicate with the tutor. They give them the scope and sequence. They can communicate via chat. They communicate via email, whatever works best for that particular teacher. Because the last thing we want to do is what? Add additional stress on our teachers.
Oh, yeah.
We want to make this as streamlined. Yes, that's very important to me. We want to streamline this as much as possible. So if the teacher works better communicating with the tutor via some chat feature, then that's what that teacher does. If another teacher works better communicating via email, then that's what we do. We want to reduce the stress levels as much as possible.
And you're not only, I have to say this, in these days, it's crazy out there, you're reducing the stress level for everybody concerned. You're reducing the stress level for the teachers, and you're reducing the stress level for the kids. Okay?
Yes,
and I have to ask this. So there's 10 kids and there's 10 kiddos, as you call them. There's 10 kiddos. Okay, the teacher, Mrs. Jones, okay, is not you. You're Mrs. Jones. Okay, I'll call her Mrs. Jones. What do I think?
That's okay. It can be Miss Jones.
There can be 2 Mrs. Joneses. All right. So Mrs. Jones, not you, Mrs. Jones, teacher, is working with 5 of the kids, and they're right on schedule. They're doing fine. Okay, what is the goal? How is it? Is it hard? I'm not sure it's the right way. Do the other kids feel separate, or do they understand, like I would have, that they need help? Okay, I always needed help in math. I mean, that was brutal, and I never got it because I was in school in the days when that just didn't happen. Okay, it was either sink or swim in school for the most part in your class. Okay, but how do the kids react to the kids who need the extra help? And how do the kids who are getting the extra help react to the other kids? What are you hearing?
Okay, so we have worked really, really hard these last few years to create a culture that, one, we don't ridicule each other. Okay, we're all here to learn, and everybody learns at a different rate. Yes, we have created that culture, and I'm proud to say that. But
you should
because
be.
Of the flexibility. Yeah, because of the flexibility that we have with this program, 1 week it might be these 5 kiddos. The next week it may be another 6. The next week it may be 3. It may be 7. So
I get it.
We can rotate. Yeah, I may be good at one standard, but the next week I may struggle in a different standard. So now it's my turn to benefit from the extra assistance.
I think that's terrific, and the teacher just keeps tabs on who needs it and who doesn't, and all that sort of thing. Am I correct? And then informs the tutor, and we go from there. Are you just doing this in math, or are you doing it in other subjects as well?
Right now, we're just doing this in math in the classroom. Now, we have the on-demand tutoring that's available for multiple subjects, but on our instructional day, right now, it's only math. We piloted it last year. So, you have to work out some of the kinks.
Of course,
and then this year, we're doing it only math classes.
Well, now I have to ask you, since you brought that up, why is that? Why only math? Is that where the hard part was? Where the kids are having the most trouble?
Yes, that's our area that we're focusing on. We're focusing on our math scores now. I have to brag on them. Last year,
go ahead, do it.
33% of the students who were in the enrichment who used the tutoring, 33% improved an achievement level on their state standard test. Their state test. Yes.
Congratulations.
That was
okay,
huge.
You should brag about that. So what happens? Okay, so 33% improved, and I assume let's just say 50% stayed even. Okay. What happens then? How do you get them to improve? Those kids who didn't improve like some of them did.
Well, we keep trying. We chip.
I know you do.
We encourage. We look at.
And by the way, I was terrible. I was terrible in math. I want to make sure everybody understands this. I was terrible in math. I would have been in a group that probably, I don't know if I would have improved or not. Okay, I was terrible in math. Still am.
You would have improved some.
I don't know.
You would have improved some.
I don't know. Okay, and so my point is, let's talk about what happens to the other kids. Are they more in getting into more intensive tutoring this year? What happens?
Yes. Well, I don't know that I believe in just throwing more work. So we use a little psychology. Yes, we do. We use a little psychology. We have some incentives in place. Because it's not about what your grade is or what your score is. We just want to see growth. So we do some of the incentives. A growth mindset is huge on our campus, and so we like to infiltrate our students' minds and tell them, you can do this. And so just getting them to believe in themselves and just rotating in and out, changing up the stations. I mean, it worked last year. We got 33%, and we're going to try it again this year.
No, I hope you get 63% this time. Okay, and you probably will.
Too.
Last year was the pilot program. Kind of, was the first year.
Correct.
This year it's that much better, and I'll tell you the truth: the teachers have to get used to this. Okay, it's not just the kids; it's the teachers that have to get used to it. And on that note, okay, what are you hearing from the teachers about all this?
The teachers love it. They've asked us, when are we going to start it again? When do we do it again? Because you know how the beginning of the school year is. We didn't want to start it right when school starts, and so we're going to do this second semester again right before testing, and it's going to be a bit more intense. We're going to do it more often. Last year we only had it 2 days a week. and we're trying to get more days this year.
Good.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, what you're doing is really important. You got to get these kids engaged. You got to get them happy. You got to get them understanding why math is important to them. And math is logic. It's good for it's thinking skills. I mean, it's that simple. I wish I had known that when I was, when I was a kid, but I didn't. Okay. So from your point of view as the principal, okay, when you look at virtual tutoring and you were not taught like that, okay, this is something brand new. What prompted you to really look into this and get it done? How'd you find Varsity Tutors, the tutoring service? How did it all come together? This is good stuff. And again, I want to say you got a computer background. You get this stuff. You can see the power of this. But yeah, I mean it.
So the district presented this to all the middle schools last year. Okay? And the way they introduced it to us wasn't necessarily my vision. Okay, and I think about how I learn. I don't learn by just using a software, watching a video, and just writing the answers and following the video. I needed my kiddos to have a person. I needed to have the flexibility of these students to interact, to talk, to communicate, to write, for the person on the other end to actually see what they were doing wrong so that they can correct it. How many times have you taken a test, you missed a question, nobody ever went on over the answer, and you moved on and you still didn't know it? Well, I needed that just-in-time education, that just-in-time assistance and structure or support. And that's how we came up with this idea. And I'm going to tell you, Varsity Tutor made it happen. They said, well, we've never done it this way. We've never done it, but let us try it. Let us see what we can do.
Got to listen to your customers. You know what's best for your kids. What's best for your kids at Ouachita. And, they got, like any good company, they have to adapt what they're doing to meet the needs of your kids. I'll tell you a story. I've told it before. When I went to school in Philadelphia, and when it's Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and when I went through Philadelphia schools, I had, by coincidence, I think, I had the same math teacher for all 3 years of high school. All right? But this was math, and I was terrible in math, or maybe he was just a lousy teacher, but I have a feeling I was terrible in math, but he had a bad habit. Okay? What he would do would give us a test, geometry, algebra, trig. What he would do is give us a test every Friday from the book. Okay? And these were all kids who were bound for college. Each kid, with the average in the class was about a 45 out of 100 points.
Wow.
Okay? So what he would do was mark on a curve. So everybody got a C or a B with a 45. And then he would go on to Chapter 3. He'd test you on Chapter 2. Everybody got a 45. He'd mark it as a B, and now he's on to Chapter 3. I always asked, did it ever occur to him that nobody understood Chapter 2? Okay? And I like to say, if the kids aren't learning, you're not teaching. You can call yourself a teacher, but if the kids aren't learning, you're not teaching. And we needed help, and he was not the guy to give it. Now he can come after school or whatever for help, but not that many kids did that. All right, certainly none of my friends did. Okay, because we all wanted to go out and play football. All right, and go ahead.
No, I was just going to say maybe his teaching style was just not compatible with your learning style, and we have to differentiate.
Yeah, it would be the whole class.
Okay.
Yeah, the whole class was getting 40s on every test. Okay, and he was just moving on to the next chapter by marking on a curve, and that's a bad thing. And I've seen this in school districts, especially in the older days, time and time again. And I can show you. I was working with a community college professor outside of Detroit, and they would get kids who had graduated this is years ago, with A's and B's from Detroit public schools, African American kids for the most part, and they would go to community college where they were accepted. That's great. Okay, so these were A and B students. Okay, who were reading and doing math at a 4th and 5th grade level. These were kids who had graduated Detroit schools. Okay. They had graduated with A's and B's. They were reading at a 4th grade level. They were doing math at a 6th grade level or something. Okay? And We can't have that. That's unacceptable. Okay, these kids are not stupid. These kids are not stupid. They're as smart as every other kid there is. All right, and what you're
our
doing,
kids are smart. They're bright.
Yeah. You have to give these kids the opportunity to learn. Okay, it's that simple. And usually, if they're given the opportunity, they will succeed. And you had a 33% increase. Okay, and I guarantee you, this year it's going to be a 50% increase because you're getting used to the system.
Yes.
Yeah, and I hope it's more. By the way, I don't want to limit you to 50%. I hope it's 90%. But
that would be fantastic.
Wouldn't that be great? But your kids and your teachers are capable to do that, and they can. If they can't do it themselves, either teachers, and I mean this nicely, if they can't do it themselves, okay, you get them the resources they need to make it happen. Our job is to educate these kids, and that's what you were able to. You're doing. You should really be. You and your teachers should be really proud of yourselves for making this work. Okay, and varsity.
We are proud.
I mean, it's just. It's just really, really, really something. What did you find? And nothing works perfectly. You said this before a few minutes ago, Keshea. What did you find were the challenges at the beginning of this?
Okay, so our kiddos, just society now already have this mindset of instant gratification. So we felt like it sometimes added to that mindset. They wanted it right now.
Yeah.
So I think in the beginning it may have added to that mindset. Sometimes I felt like we lean a little bit too heavily and overuse technology, so we had to find a good balance. We really did have to find a good balance.
Mm-hmm.
And I think sometimes it can be a distraction to students because they have the technology right there at their fingertips all the time.
I think.
But the benefit. I'm sorry. What'd you say?
No, you go ahead. I was going to say go ahead.
Okay, but I'm going to talk about the benefits, okay? Because I feel like the benefits outweighed the challenges.
I'm sure they do.
I may be jumping a little bit ahead, but I felt like it outweighed.
That's okay.
There's a nationwide shortage of educators, okay? We cannot not address that. And although I believe there is absolutely no substitute for a teacher in the classroom, this technology piece has allowed us options, okay? They've allowed us options. We now have options when we do not have the body in the classroom. And I think that in itself has been the best or the greatest benefit is just having some options.
Absolutely, and I'll tell you another option. There's a big challenge with teacher retention. And one of the reasons teachers leave their job is because they're overworked and disrespected. You can go right down that list, etc. And they have no time. And they're spending their own money in a lot of cases to get school supplies, etc. There's a lot of reasons for serious teacher retention challenges. And everything that we can do to make their job easier. And I love what you just said. The technology gives you the options. We can do this, okay? And all it is a change in the way we're doing it, okay? The world changes, okay? The world changes, okay? Things change. And if we can't get enough teachers there full time, we have to go outside. And that's what technology allows us to do. It's just really it's just so darn important to see that. And the key is don't fight it. Okay, there's no reason to fight it. All right, the reason is the thing is to go with it. Okay, and use technology as much as we can these days. All right, and to make it work. It's got to be our friend, not our enemy. Everybody's talking about artificial intelligence, AI, being our enemy. It's not. Okay, it's there, and we got to make it a friend. We got to use it the way it's supposed to be used.
Yeah,
of course it does.
I think it has a place. Again, we just have to find balance. I have found that in the beginning, pre-COVID, educators were afraid of technology. They were afraid of it because they didn't have a background in it,
That's right.
And so just like anything else, you have to get used to it. You have to chunk it. Just imagine you thinking back to your math teacher that you so vividly remember. He probably gave you a lot of information at one time. So we as adults, educators, whoever we are no different from the students. This has to be a gradual process.
You are
And as
exactly
long as
right.
we chunk it and we gradually introduce something different, I think people will be more receptive.
Good job, Madam
and they
Principal.
will see the
Good
benefits.
job.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's what we did. We chunked it. Each 9 weeks, we would add a little bit more. We would add a little bit more. And again, this was before COVID. And so I was so excited when Varsity Tutors came around because my teachers were already accustomed to using technology. Now, was it a learning curve? Yes, it was. But they were already accustomed to using technology, and so they were not intimidated by it.
You know, you said something before. You said your school is mostly, I think you said 70% or so African American. Do you have enough African American teachers? Can the kids? How's that going down there? I'm just curious.
Well, not only is there a shortage of teachers, there is also a shortage of people of color. Yes.
Yeah.
So no, it is not comparable at all. The district does a great job, I feel, of trying to recruit. But you can't recruit people who are not there. I mean, if they're not there, they're not there. You can't make them. Artificial intelligence is good, but it's not that good.
Yeah. You're exactly right. I was just curious down there, you know, in the heart of good old Louisiana, okay, how you were doing with that. Because it's hard, like you said, it's hard to get teachers. But, it's hard everywhere for school districts to find teachers of color, which always strikes me as amazing because when I went to I remember a great many of my teachers when I was in Philadelphia years and years ago were African American. I mean, it's amazing how that is. See, it seems to me there were a lot, and it seems to me there's less and less and less now, which is not good. Okay, and what can I tell you? You know, it's that bit. How you doing with teacher retention, teacher shortage? Then are you fully staffed?
We are fully staffed. We are fully staffed, and we are excited. We are super excited about being fully staffed, and we only have 2 teachers, 3 teachers on our campus who are doing the alternative certification route. Now, listen, I don't bash alternative certification routes because that's how I got into education. So, you know, some of the best teachers come from other careers.
Absolutely.
But this year, we only have 3. I want to tell you, it's not a funny story, but a quick little story. You make mention of having minority representation on my campus.
So important.
So last year, we had it was a black man who was one of the tutors. And one of the kids was so excited because he had never had a black male teacher. And he was like, oh, it's a black man. You know, he was so excited. Yes, he was so excited that it was a black man as one of his teachers.
Wow.
I thought that was quite interesting.
It's incredible. It's amazing. And you know, I always say this and you'll laugh, you know, only high schools always have career fairs. And the one thing that never has a booth is become a teacher. You know, become a veterinarian, become a firefighter, become whatever. Okay, become an engineer, but they never have become a teacher. Okay, and we've got these kids, you know, and we got to make school, and you're doing this, you got to make school engaging and fun for them because people don't want to go back to something they didn't have fun in. Why do that every day? Okay, but if we make school engaging and understand our audience, okay, it will pay off in the long run in terms just A, the kids' success, and B, getting kids back into education, even for a few years. You know, it's just so important. Keshea, you're doing a great job down there. Ouachita sounds cool.
Well, thank you.
Okay, they're lucky to have you. That's all I can tell you. They're lucky to have you.
I appreciate that. I truly do.
Well, you're something. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. What can I say? On behalf of everybody, thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you. This was fun.
You're welcome. Okay, you take care, and I hope we talk again. Have a good day.
All righty.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. You too. Bye.
Bye-bye. Wow. You know, there are some great educators out there, okay? They have a heart and a soul and really want this to work. And we just got to get everybody on the same page. That's all there is to it. The hell with the politicians, okay? I'm telling you, they're just making it crazy out there for people who really want to do a good job. Keshea and her school are using Varsity Tutors. Okay, this tutoring works. It's a change in the way schools work, but in an age of teacher shortages, in an age of kids being so distracted, in a post-pandemic age, we really need to use everything in our quiver. And one of the things is tutoring, and it's virtual tutoring, and it works. So check out Varsity Tutors. You can just Google it. It's varsitytutorsforschools.com. I think it also works at varsitytutors.com. All right, we're going to archive the show over at ace-ed.org. I'm Larry Jacobs. Hey, thank you for listening.